Portfolio Builder members, today is our July 18th trade alert. Half your portfolio should be following this portion of our strategy, and it plays the bond market and the gold market. And so the big risk here is that the global growth outlook is quickly deteriorating, and it's slowly making its way across the pond into America. This should drive another rush into the safe havens of the bond market and the gold market. So this setup did very well for us week over week and helped protect and balance our more aggressive strategy trading the stock market. So stock market can sure pull some big winners, and we've had a lot of gains in that. However, if you look at the $13 trillion of negative debt around the world, things aren't quite adding up. So let's take a look at how this trade played out, and then we'll look at the new setup for this week. So again, if you want to balance your portfolio, at least half should be following this portion of the portfolio. Now, I like to be known as Negative Nancy or Pessimistic Pete, whatever you call it. So I have over half of my portfolio in terms of our model portfolio following this exact set of trades. And it's just been hovering the TLT all year. In general, TLT goes up, SPY goes down. SPY goes up, TLT goes down. But in the long run, at least in this 10-year cycle, they've been going up together. Now, this may completely unravel as we find ourselves in a central bank trap where they can't stop the next recession because there's no way to drop the rates 5% like they have had to do in the dot-com bubble and the '08 crash. So I think we'll see some pretty unpredictable moves in both the SPY and the TLT as we get towards the end of this current cycle. So we'll talk about that more in the webinar today, which is coming up in a few hours. But let's just look. The TLT jumped from 131.25 to 131.47 for a 27-cent gain. Our TLT option caller started off with a 37-cent credit, and we were able to buy it back for a 28-cent debit for a 9-cent gain. And meanwhile, our GLD call, which we wrote bought one call option per 100 shares of the TLT, went from 34-cent debit to a 54-cent credit. And I think as of recording this video, it's up even more. All in all, per share of the TLT you own, you're up 58 cents. So that's coming in handy on a day when the SPY is starting to sell off. So you can start to see why it's so important to put around half your portfolio in the Thursday trade alert. So let's look at the trades today. And also, even though the bond market may seem super boring, you can see this portfolio has been keeping up with the SPY trades. It's only about 1% behind, and I think that this month this will be the big winner. And again, not trying to say I can predict the future. What I can do is help you mitigate risk and put yourself in a very strong position to profit safely from the big macro forces that are at play right now. And the big play is that the central banks are lowering rates down to zero, which should cause a huge push in gold prices and eventually deteriorate the faith in the bond market. Now, I do expect the Fed will just start buying its own bonds, so TLT may not crash all that much and could sit there and be a great way to pull income out of the option market. So let's just look at each part of the trade. Part A is to close last week's trade. So if you didn't take last week's trade, you can skip this part and go to step 2. But the trade alert is to buy to close the July 19 131.50 call. Then we're going to sell to close the July 19th 130 put. So that gets you out of that caller trade on the TLT. Right now, the net debit is 28 cents. If you cannot sell your put option, no big deal. Right now, it's printing around a 2 to 3 cent credit. But if you can't get out of it, no worries. Just let that expire worthless. You will have to close your call option, though, in order to write a new call option. Now, part B was a long call option on GLD. So this is to sell to close our August 16, 2019 143 call. The reason it had such a long expiration was because we were going against the trend when we put this on, and the momentum was not on our side at all. In fact, right after we did this trade, TLT and gold had a pullback only to jump up yesterday and turn this part of our portfolio into a big winner, while you can see the SPY is protected by our put, but definitely struggling this week. Next trade is to sell to open the July 26, 2019 132 call, and then to buy to open the July 26, 2019 130 put. So this is called a caller. Let's look at the risk profile. Our maximum risk per 100 shares of the SPY is 116.50. Our maximum profit is 83.50, and we're walking away with a $32 credit per contract written. So again, this should be a huge part of your portfolio. The global economy is in trouble, and my expectation is that this will work its way to America. So another rush to the safe havens is definitely in the cards. Here's a look at the TLT graph. So you can see it's been a nice, easy winner all year with some pretty good pullbacks, but nothing too dramatic. Now the next part of our trade is a little different than last week. We're doing a debit spread, a call debit spread on GLD. So we just need GLD to go up a little bit, and this can generate a nice profit. Now notice the debit is 24 cents, just a little bit under the credit we pulled from our TLT caller. So we're financing a free bet on GLD. The worst case scenario is we lose our $24 per contract on GLD, and we lose the $116 per contract on the TLT. So we have around $130,000 invested to own 100 shares of the TLT. We're using that to take advantage of the options market and finance the small bet on GLD. So we are buying to open the July 26, 2019 134 call, and then we're selling to open the July 26, 2019 134.50 call. So we really just need GLT to go up any amount, and we hit a profit on this one. So you can see we break even if GLD goes down slightly, about 25 cents. But if it just stays at this level or goes up, we're going to essentially double our money on this play. So we're taking that credit, essentially trying to double it if GLD can just hold this level, and if it goes up at all, we're set to jet for the rest of the week on this trade. So this will be a very repetitive trade. Right now, I'm still playing a little safer. I had this one strike higher to generate a bigger profit, but I like this one. All we need is GLD to stay put, and we double our money on this part of the play. It's financed for free with our TLT caller, so it's a very low risk, repetitive trade we're going to be doing most likely for a very long time, until the China-US trade war is resolved, which could take years to happen. So here's a look at GLD getting ready to break out higher. Now this trade is designed to survive an atomic bomb, so there will be no emergency alerts, and the next trade will be Thursday at noon. So that's a wrap on today's trade alert. We have a webinar for our free trials in about an hour and a half, and I hope you can make that. And for our paid members, next webinar is next Wednesday. So thanks again. And just a quick disclaimer, read that so we have a copy of it in the video. It's also in your email. Our model portfolio is hypothetical so that we can legally demonstrate real-life trades without actually front-running our own clients. Trading is risky and you can lose your entire investment. These results are based on a hypothetical model portfolio and not real money trades. This is not financial advice. Click that link for the full disclaimer. And a quick recap of what to expect the rest of this week and next week. We have the SPY trade Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. This is a portfolio position that should be no more than half your total portfolio. If you'd like an alternative trade, you can put either 25 to 50% of your total portfolio in our Tuesday Apple covered call play. So that aims for a higher yield, higher risk, and a higher return with less work. So for some of you that makes a lot of sense. For others, you prefer the SPY. It's totally up to you. The Thursday trade is critical to helping stabilize your returns and never have a really bad month. If one's going up, usually the other goes down. So these work hand in hand. That's our Thursday TLT GLD covered call play. If you're ready to upgrade, please call Dean at 505-322-7515 or Chris That's 760-803-5335. And don't forget, we have a webinar coming up for our freebie webinar, and the paid membership webinar is next Wednesday.